What's going on, everybody? I am here. I am finishing up dinner, so we're just going to hang out for a second. But we're going to do some fun TMUX stuff today for sure. Hope everyone's having a good December. I've been expecting a lot of the same people here lately, so make yourselves known. Always like hanging out with you guys. This is always fun. So we'll do some TMUX stuff today. I've been putting a lot of thought about startup scripts, and I had a really good live stream when we went over it originally with like TMOSIL and TMUXinator and all the other tools that what's going on, nice one. Yeah, so we were going over all those tools last stream, and I came up with some ideas, and I didn't like them. I didn't ultimately think that, well, let me rephrase that. Once I started implementing the ideas that we came up with on the first stream, I realized that there were some headaches there. Like having to create a file for every project was kind of a headache. So I'm thinking of taking a different approach. I'm thinking that we'll be more focused on, yeah, TMUX, totally. I'm excited too. We're going to focus more on some sort of config file that drives this feature. And then I've done some updates on the bash scripting. So we're going to be able to create simple bash scripts that like start up your project. So the bits that we learned last time we did this, and I don't know, Nice, if you looked at this, but it was fun coming up with some ideas, and I've learned a lot since then, which it hasn't been that long, maybe a month. And so we'll dive into it here in a few minutes. Do you have any questions for me before we dive into this? Let's see, let's get ourselves. Should we use the Windows desktop? We could get ourselves a Santa. I used Midjourney to make that picture for today. All right, so we are going to startup script. I can't spell. Startup script config file. So that's the idea. Most of this is driven by this main file. Let's see. So here's the logic. This is what we're starting with today. This is the focus. So we have our session, and then if it sees the T file, then we run it. Otherwise, we don't. And what I learned recently is if we call this independently, it makes for a better experience. And what I mean by that is when you run this thing, let's call this NeoVim, right? So let's say we ran NVim here. If you run it in this way, when you make it an argument on this session creation, it actually treats it as like a running instance. And so when NVim ends, the session actually kills itself, which I didn't realize the first time we talked about all this and started putting it together. So this idea that, okay, I'm going to call, like, let's call something simple like ls, right? So if we were to call ls, and you'll actually see what happens if I go to dot files. Do I have a T file here? Oh, I don't. All right, let's go to like fish. Nothing happened. And that's because ls runs and it finishes executing and it throws me an exit code. and then the session decides that it's over. The session actually goes, oh, okay, great. There's nothing else to do here. Versus, and actually, the bigger problem here is I don't have key bindings working right now, but like it freezes the whole system, which is kind of overlaying the bigger problem here is that I need some sort of timeout that ensures that, like, hey, if this thing doesn't throw an extra code, at some point you need to give up so that the user doesn't completely lose what it is they're doing, which is what I've been dealing with as I have experimented with this feature. So we're going to adjust that. For sure, we're going to adjust that. At the very least, we're going to have some sort of timeout that is working with this. So we'll attach. I hope to have, at the very least, some sort of timeout so that if something crashes, we can still use the feature or work around the feature, rather. My dogs have been a little crazy today, so we'll see how well they behave today. All right, so let's do it. I'm thinking at this point, I've really enjoyed in my nerd font plugin, the way that I drive the feature is using a YAML file to configure. And so there's this config section, and the way that I basically interact with these is with the library called YQ. Now, I'm not super excited about the idea of having to add another dependency to this project, but at least for now, if this works, I think it's going to be okay to at least a proof of concept to play around with this, because unfortunately, my most common issue with people that are using this project is there's some gap in people reading the README and trying to install the dependencies and then trying to use the session manager. There's like a gap. And in that gap, people will submit tickets and ask questions. And sometimes most often it's like, oh, you had a dependency that wasn't in alignment with, what is listed here. So I'm only a little hesitant to add another dependency, but it is very helpful in having something like YAML to offer this kind of feature, because I don't want to do it myself, and so we're just going to tentatively say YQ, and so let's kill some of this. Cool. Go to our live stream and we'll say YQ GitHub. And so we'll just sort of start with the YQ, and I'll just for now state that we want version 4 should be reasonable. Start. And I can actually check YQ. Yeah. So YQ is needed for the nerd font tool, right? And so if you're using that one, that's how I'm getting these little emojis up here. That's another plugin I've written. Yeah, you need YQ. And at some point you didn't. So don't feel bad, because at some point that wasn't a dependency. And then I upgraded to a major version from like 1.0 to 2.0. And I said, okay, you have to install this because it's not an expensive thing, but it is very, very useful in being able to do this. So we will get config value. And what's great is I've already sort of done this. So like if you're a TMUX person and you're using my other plugin, then there's not much you got to do here, right? Let's see, YQ4. So that's the requirement, YQ4. And it's going to be one of those things that, like, is it better if I just abstract this into its own place in the code base? I mean, I'm already at 238 lines on this file, so I get a little nervous when we add more to it. But Now we can just do something like that. And I've been meaning to refactor a lot of the work that's been done so far on the configuration side of this plugin. Maybe Twitch chat works. Hey, what's up, Jersey? I see you, Jersey. You're here. Were you having trouble on YouTube or Twitter? Or I don't think all the channels come to me. I have some sort of centralized streaming platform that I use. What's going on? Share your thoughts, because I appreciate your guys' feedback as I work through this. Twitter was quiet. Yeah, I don't know if Twitter comments get to me, so I feel a little bit bad about that. But dude, the conference was sick. Those that don't know, NeoVimConf was last week, and I spoke at it, and it was a good time. You like my tree? Oh, the one behind me? Yeah. My little tiny tree. I've got a big tree downstairs and a little tree up here. Sweet 9. I appreciate it, man. So you use this plugin, huh? I appreciate you. We're at 200 stars. Help me get to 1,000 stars. Let's go. I think the more features I add, for sure, the more value it's going to bring. And so today is a big one. If I can get this to work easily and quickly and well, then I think that this is going to be really fun. You liked my talk? I've been doing this YouTube thing a couple years. I appreciate it. I switched to DaVinci Resolve recently, and I've really enjoyed that switch. It's made my editing experience it makes more sense to me in my brain. I don't know if you guys get it, but certain coding frameworks and in my case, certain video editors, some don't make sense to my brain and some do. So, and it's free, which is also really great. So I appreciate it. It's been fun. Yeah. So Jersey's unleashing all my secrets, but all the speakers got to see my talk before NeoVimConf. I was looking for some feedback, which I got a little bit, which was helpful. I think I had one of the quickest talks as well. All right. So let's do this. So let's touch some sort of config file. Default config.yaml. No, I think I'm going to go ahead and just switch right to it. Oh, you're good, man. There's no secrets here. I don't know if you've been on our live stream before, but there's no secrets. You guys can ask me questions. I'll answer them, honestly. Let's turn on some lights. How about that? A little bit more festive. Dude, it was very concise and to the point. Although when you go to the blog post, you realize that there's some work to be done. That you have to set those key bindings up yourself. And I didn't think that it was worth the time and effort to be like, oh, by the way, every single one of these, and I do mention it very briefly in the talk. But yeah, and I'm using them right now, to be honest. I don't have, maybe I should turn on Keycaster for you guys. Yeah, there you go. So you can see what I'm doing. We'll put this, where will we put this? Put it, you guys, where do you want it, chat? Is here good? Put it down here by my floating head. All right, let's code it. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to do. I appreciate the new people who came from the conference. So glad to see you here. You know what? We usually have a little bit of lo-fi going on in the background. Why don't we turn that down a little and get to jamming? Let's do it. All right. So I like to talk things out, especially on stream. You guys help me a ton. A little bit of pair programming here. So my idea is that I do want to create shell scripts to help me scaffold a TMUX session. And I have a really good example that I can pull from. But the difference here is, rather than putting it in the source code, I want to put it in my config file. And so that's what we're going to do today. So in my .config TMUX, and we're actually going to check TMUX I'm gonna have to create a separate config here in order to sync it. So this is my tool that I use to sync my dot files. And that's all right. Let's see. So in here, I have to decide what to name it. So I'm thinking of like giving it a T directory, make dir T, TMUX/T. And in here, we can put like scripts. Oh, that's not gonna work. Let me clean that up for you guys. I'll put that like here. All right. So we'll need to make dir scripts. And this will be like go to file.yaml, oh, not yaml.sh. And then in the project itself, we're going to have some sort of tconfig.yaml. And I'm just sort of like shooting some ideas here. I don't know if this will be exactly how it goes, but we'll have some sort of dev. Let's see, go to file dev. So my idea is that these are going to be incredibly personal. You'll decide what it is you want to do here. And I may need to drop the sh here. It probably doesn't really matter as long as what I name it, it matches. And so more importantly, when we go into here, scripts, we're going to have to execute these. So we're just going to kind of set these as executables. And then I have some projects like fish where you'll see my script already working. So when I run that, it automatically opens up NeoVim and asks me what I want to put in, which is kind of the whole thing that we're improving on today. What's up, Waylon? Waylon's here. I know him. He was a speaker at NeoVimConf in the past. Good to see you here. We're just doing TMUX things, you know, just chilling. And so what I want to do is we've got this like .t file. And every time I wanted to do this, I had to make an executable file and put it in the project. And in some cases, I would like commit it to version control, or if not, I would be ignoring it. And like the moment that I decided to change the way in which these things worked, I then had to go throughout my entire hard drive, everywhere I put these files, and try and manage them and change them. And if I made a breaking change, like good luck, like sorry, like this is going to be a pain in the butt. And so that's where I'm landing today with these like no, I want this to be different than it is. So what we're going to do today is I need to open that config file. So config TMUX. This T is helpful, but what's happened is I want to change the way that it works. Oh yeah, Jersey, you know Waylon? Yeah, Waylon's got cool stuff. So Waylon, you're like a Python guy, right? You're a Python guy, and you're. I liked your talk a couple years ago on like doing cool terminal things inside of NeoVim without plugins, where it was like, hey, you can like interact with the terminal inside NeoVim without using custom plugins. You can just call those scripts and interact with the output directly. That was really cool. I remember. Good times. All right, so what's changed here is like defaults. I don't know. I have a good memory. Your talk left an impression on me, man. What can I say? I don't know what we're going to put here. Okay, so we know scripts is going to exist. And my thought here is that the scripts needs to match. So like go to file. And what do we call the other one? Go to file dev. Super, super, super simple here. And you're late. Oh my gosh, one of our regulars is late. What are you doing? What are you? I was actually eating dinner when I started the stream, so please don't feel bad. But we're doing TMUX scripts. Dealing with work, yeah. Been there. Dude, right, totally, Waylon. So Waylon's like, oh yeah, I have this great idea. I'm going to make a plugin for it, and then you don't need it at all. So what I like about my autocomplete is like I have autocomplete in this project. And part of me wants globbing where I can say like anything in here can do that. I'm a little bit nervous about globbing the kind of unintended side effects of this feature. And I don't know if I'll even know how to do it completely when it comes to like matching a globbing structure. So for now, I'm going to have something like this, where I'm going to be able to list projects. And perhaps I say if it's included, then I'll call it. I'm not sure exactly what the syntax is going to be, but you guys can help me with that today. So something like this. Luo plugins. What else do? I do TMUX. I do TMUX plugins, T-Smart. So like at this point, this wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if I had to create new entries, because for every new one I want, I just copy and paste it. And then at the future, I'll do more. So this is like, I'm conceptualizing it for now. We've talked about a default one. So the default one probably is something we can mess with. Look at this, people are making friends in chat. I love it. So yeah, no, we're definitely going to start with one of those. You're right about that. That's the plan. I'm Josh Medeski everywhere. I got lucky in that my name is kind of unique and people don't have my name. But yeah, I totally get you switch it up sometimes. All right, so the most basic version of this is there is a scripts key, and for every scripts key, there is a script file. Bless me. And the script file is our identifier. For now, that's our identifier. And then if we go to my Smart Session Manager, I actually have some files. No, it's my .files. .files. I have some changes here. And in these changes, this is sort of the new way of doing it, which is called send keys. And so some of you weren't here when we started chat, but when I started the live stream today, to catch some of you up, there is this idea. Let's see, I need to go back to here. There's this idea that, well, we'll just go to the session manager. Let's just go here. I'm going to repeat myself a little, only because I think it's super important. This line of code, where we run the script, what happens is TMUX will kill the session when this script throws an exit code. So when this gives me an exit code, session over, it dies. It just goes back to what it was doing before. Unfortunately, if you run the script separately, like if I were to just say like run tscript on its own inside of this bash script, unfortunately, the fuzzy finder pop-up, if we never get an exit code, this will, at some point, this will die, which is bad. Like it'll just freeze, and you can't even interact. You can't run characters, you can't run the prefix, you can't detach, you can't do anything. You have to like literally kill your terminal emulator, and you have to like reattach, and then you're good to go. But it's a huge pain, and that's something that I need to work around when I do this. And so that's what I need to solve for today. I've talked about, let's just go ahead and put our to-dos. To do, ensure timeout exists to prevent freezing. And so that is one piece of it that's super important. We're basically going to not do this anymore. This is going to be to do lookup session result in config file. Yeah. And then to do run startup script from config file. I mean, that's the idea. So we'll get the key. When we get the key, I think that this is the part where I don't know how it works. We're going to find out in chat. We're going to find out today how this works. But when we go to look at this part and the way that I've currently written the config file, let's just close that. I don't know yet if I'm going to be able to find the thing and then do like a reverse lookup on it. That's kind of the part where I'm a little bit unsure of the structure of the YAML file. So part of me thinks that we're going to have to do this. List sessions. It's not even going to be sessions. It's going to be like paths. And anytime we get a path, you want me to work some Easter eggs? You want me to put Easter eggs in the project? I could put Easter eggs in. Unfortunately, it's I think a few of you may be like, there's a bit of magic involved with this plugin, but to be honest, it's only a few hundred lines of code total. Like, it's not a lot of code. It's a very little amount of code. So anybody who has 5 minutes might be able to find all my Easter eggs in one quick read through. All right, so that's just what I have to say about it. So part of me now is thinking that we're gonna have the path, and then on the path I want to mention, well, I guess we're gonna have to play around with YQ first. Some of my projects, I had a third idea here, chat, and I kind of want to know what you think of this. We've talked about it before, this idea that like we will always run the same script when every project ever starts, which is something like neovim, like invim go to file, right? But it could be something else, and there could be a dev script that you want to start. There could be some sort of logging system that you want to, like a Docker log trail command that you want to flag. So I recognize that some people want certain things done a certain way depending on the project. And so you will end up with a really specific script for a specific project. And that's the part where I have tried my best to abstract all of that into my workflow so that I don't need custom scripts for every project. But at the same time, if you put this in version control, like in the project in version control, then another developer who uses TMUX and installs this plugin offers the same benefit, albeit it might be a bit opinionated, which is kind of where I'm at a balancing scale with all of this. Tell me more about DurEnv. It could be one of those things that I need to find a better tool. Yeah. DurEnv. I've heard of this before. So you put it in your script and you tell it to do the thing, right? So the problem right now that I'm running into is, in some cases, we want it to be a sort of TMUX scaffolding tool where I have, like, I want to create panes and windows and do things in a certain way. And what happens with my Smart Session Manager is I know the session name. And if I know the session name, then I can use that to control the TMUX session as it boots up. But with this sort of tool, we don't know the session name. We could maybe imply it, but that sort of implication makes me nervous because I don't know exactly what features people are going to enable or disable when they use the Smart Session Manager. And so I want it to be able to be cohesive enough that it works on its own without too many opinions being bled out across different parts of the project. So that's my thinking right now about like the potential trouble with this. Let's see if there's like a YAML spec. It's one of these things that I'm like, oh, interesting. You can put a that's a fun idea. At this point, we're just sort of playing chat. So apparently you can do dev invim go to, that's valid. That would be easier probably. Yeah. You're like, I have Durham installed and I cloned someone's project and then it blew up in their faces. That's right, Waylon. That could definitely happen. So I'm trying my best to be aware of any sort of developer opinions that I'm making about this project. I don't want there to be too high of a chance of it just completely blowing up someone else's machine because they don't have something installed or they just don't want that sort of functionality. Yeah, unintended side effects are important for these kinds of tooling. Using YQ, how would I view ripe from the example above? I mean, if it has that, yes. So this is what we're doing. Oh, that's not right. Let's bring that back. All right. So it's one of those things now that like YQ val from a file. You passed the file name at the end. Right. I knew that. That was right in front of me, right? Right, chat? All right, so we're going to go paths. And I want to select has no lookup the by ripe based off of a string. Yeah. Is that going to actually work? Is this going to actually work? That's my question. It's one of those things that like, as long as we build the YAML config in a way that's actually compatible with this tooling, then we're good. But as long as I don't, yeah, paths. Yeah, paths. Good catch. Very good catch, Peter. Have you been here before, Peter? Some of you guys just come in all sneakily and give me exactly what I need as I'm typing. I love it. Select. All right, so we're gonna like say if this equals config fish. So like that's it, and then path. Let's just see if that works. Oh, that was very angry. We're in my T/G config. All right, so we're gonna start playing around with this. You can't do that. Do I have to escape something? All right, so I have a suspicion that it's going to be a little bit frustrated at path, and then Okay, so yes, but I don't know if you're catching my drift as like to what the feature needs to do. I want to ensure maybe I do something like this. These are all my go-to files. And if I have every go to file entry, if I have the entry that I'm looking for, it still thinks that it's invalid. So do I need to just take a step back? Because I can take a step back and I can I mean, what if I just want to run? Oh. Ooh. YAMLing? I love it. I've never heard of YAMLing. You eval the key based off the file name. Yeah. Go to file. I see. Go to file on my config file. All right, chat. Why won't the most basic thing happen? Yeah. I've heard that YAML and JQ and YQ are like using the same interface or same interface. They have the same functionality. Maybe not the same, but an equivalent. Maybe it's the dot? No, it is dot. Come on. Why won't this work? All right, we're gonna take a step back here and we're gonna go to the documentation. Actually, no, okay, sweet. Read a value, yes. So they're not even evaling. Maybe eval is a mislead. I've only used it in like the most basic sense at this point. So these are the things, yeah, like this. Part of me thinks that like we do this sort of key value. I actually kind of love that. So this is another thing worth thinking about. Come on. So part of me wants to, I don't know, scripts. So part of me thinks this might be kind of nice. That works. So if I want to find the following dir entry, yeah, you're just learning. Hey, good to see you, Cowface Dev. Yeah, so I think once we start moving here, it's going to make a lot more sense once we get the configuration right. It'll actually all fall right into place once we get it right. All right. Find the following dir entry config/fish from the following YAML data using the YQ library. So it'll be one of these things where it's like, I want then output the script key value. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what it's going to look like. So we'll do like invim, and then we'll do some sort of repos / joshmedeski.com. We'll do some sort of TMUX plugins to smart. And then you're probably right. I'm going to just see if this tool is helpful. So it equals the thing, and then you pipe out the dot script. So yeah, so you're just piping out the value from the thing that you've asked for. So once you've made your assertion, so we'll scripts and select. It's not so different from that, is it? T/tconfig, go to file. That's it. That's all we need. That's all we're going for today, chat. All right, let's catch Cowface stuff up. Thanks for coming in. So we are creating a way to have, when you load a certain project, like a coding project, we want to run specific actions every time you start up a project. So that may be opening your editor so that you can, find a file. That might be, which now that I'm thinking about it, there's actually some thoughts as I talk this out. It could just be like starting a dev script so that the server starts running. It could, and we're using a tool called TMUX. So this is all being driven by TMUX. So this is the script. At this point, it's just a matter of applying it to the project. So this is going to be copied. And in here, we're going to do something a little bit more complex than we were doing before. So the lookup will go along the lines of this. So this will be like git startup script. Let's go. And this will actually return home dir config, something. This is going to be super simple. I don't love that. We'll make that better. But we'll just echo it and we'll evaluate this. And then the thing that needs replaced is the result bash right. So then this will be the argument. And we'll swap those quotes out. Yeah. So dir-env, we brought that up earlier. Dir-env is a great way to approach this, but dir-env is very much opinionated on that, or it's unopinionated. We don't even know if you're using the session manager. So if some other dev is using dir.env, I'd hate to like overload them with some random functionality they weren't expecting. So that's kind of one of our mindsets right now for dealing with this. All right, so we're gonna get the script and we're gonna just say like down here, let's use my bindings from my Neovim talk. All right, so we're gonna go results. It's one of those things that like, we might as well start up script, yes. If startup script, then run the session. I think what I've decided is, where am I at with the result? All right, so this needs to go. And we just need to home config t mux/t/ what did I call this? We've already named it. Scripts. That's the idea. And then it'll be startup script. And this is what gets executed. Fair enough. So you got nicks, and there's some sort of quick catch. If no nicks, don't do thing. I know, I appreciate that. I'm sure that there's some equivalent that I could deal with. I think the next few minutes might be a little frustrating if this kills my TMUX session. All right, let's make sure my script is good. So scripts go to file. Immediately, I know that's not going to work. So let's TMUX send keys. Oh, what happened? All right, cool. Send key. Oh, that's not helpful to me. Send keys. Oh, that was weird. Send keys and then D script. So this is my way of entering this. I've got a sample project that we'll be able to go through later. Go to file. All right, so that looks good. It's called go to file. This is called go to file. We can match up on a specific thing. All right, so chat, let's see what happens. Drum roll. We're gonna try to run it and we're gonna see if anything blows up on me. And nothing happened. All right, so that was a little bit underwhelming, I know. Waylon's watching. Damn, it didn't work. But things don't usually work on the first try, right? So we can do TMUX, display message, session, startup script. That's kind of my first entry point here. Startup script. And it was empty. All right, so why was it empty? Because this thing didn't catch anything that I wanted. So display, TMUX display. Let me see if there's something that I need to do differently here, probably. So that's my startup script. All right, let's go back to the session manager. Let's call it didn't blow up. That is a good sign. I was saying that that's the most likely thing that would have happened in my mind. Oh no, we've got a joke from Jersey. All right, I want the answer. What does a fish say when it swims into concrete? What does a fish say when it swims into concrete? I don't know. I don't have a good guess for that one. Let us know. I want to know. I want to know the punchline. It says this. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh my goodness. All right. Found script. So no found script. We're going to see the argument here. And then I don't want to display this. I just want to run it. It found the full path without, damn. So the path is not with the tilde slash. So that was what I did wrong. I know it happened quickly and I'm streaming, so I don't even know if everyone saw it. So I have two options. The first option is, well, let's just verify that the feature works if I was to put the full path. Oh wait, hold on. Do I have? Let's close that. Let's close that. Do I have? So the result gets piped back before this code runs. Great. Because I get it, because we do end up needing to use it. All right, so then I'm a functional programmer, you guys. This is not very functional. This idea that we have a value, it comes in a certain way, it gets converted. So here you go. Here's the result. And then down here, we take the result and we do a sed command and we replace. Yeah, so somewhere up here, Zoxide takes the results and it converts it here. Home replacer. So it's one of those things that, like, I don't want to immediately turn the original session result name back. So up here, do I rename this? Real path? Yeah, real path is pretty good. Oh, dude, I don't even know about real path. Absolute path given file or directory. Yeah. But it's been good so far. The feature, granted, could probably be less lines of code. I don't want to go completely refactor it because I don't want to refactor it right now. So we'll say like results with tilde. I don't know. Is result. I know this isn't a great result. Oh, come on, result. There we go. So I will start with this. Let's just find out if it works. Fish did its thing. That's step one. Step two is once we have it, we have to find a script that matches it. So, wait, hold on. Fish. Yes. So that was valid. That was totally valid. We're going to now find out if it can find found script. Is this going to work? That was weird. Let's try again. Oh, that was interesting. What's happening? It's outputting something that it found with TMUX. Why is it doing that? It was attempting to find the scripts based off of the select, getting the dir match, and then outputting the script that it finds. And then it's running it, right? But it is running it down here. So down here we call the script. So why is it outputting TMUX code? Maybe it's crashing? No, it seems to be passing. I'm just going to do a sanity check. Hello. All right. I want to close all these extra sessions. So why would found script be the thing that we're seeing? Why wouldn't it be simply just go to file? Maybe it's getting ahead of itself. Maybe it's happening so quickly that it's jumping to the next thing. Display. Something like that. Although at that point, fish. Ah, so that didn't even run. Shortbread cookies. I love shortbread cookies. I am part Scottish, sir. You are speaking my heritage. But why isn't this working? I guess found script is the misleading thing here. Is that bad, just bad code? Running and then empty. Right. So it's not finding a script. I guess I just don't even need to run it. I just need it to... Why does it do that? So weird. It's giving me that output that isn't really related to what I would have expected to see. At this point, this code probably isn't working. That's my guess. Let's just move this here. Found nothing. So it's not finding anything when it does the lookup. So get startup script is, I would expect, lookup result with tilde. Is this gonna... It keeps doing that. It keeps giving me a message that I don't really want. It's doing like 2 messages. There's the find. The find looks good. I'm just going to close that for now. By the way, chat, if you didn't know, TMUX, if you're on a session and then you go to a new session and you kill the session that you're currently on, it does not go back to the session you were last on. And it is an unfinished feature in the TMUX issues. I've looked and I'm like, man, I really wish someone would do that. But unfortunately, it doesn't. Just know to go back to the one you were doing last, which I would love. My whole workflow would be so much easier if someone were to fix that. If only someone could fix that, right? All right, so I'm getting TMUX display message. Something else is being shown that I really am not expecting. The display time can be extended. That's good to know. Yeah, Peter, I appreciate that. So we could extend it for the time being. So that's this guy. What is that? Display. I don't know if I have display time here. Display time, and so we can do like, I don't know, 3 seconds. All right. Let's see if that makes this whole process better. I like it. Maybe I could find a way to toggle it. Put that there. Idea. No, what is it? Perhaps. So what I'm unsure of is when I go to run this, look at that. That did feel slower. Maybe not slow enough. Oh, the M is unnecessary. Oh, okay. So let's do that. Thanks. That is definitely helpful. So if we run it, we get the argument. The argument is good. The argument is what we want. When we go to the next part of this, which is we run the startup script, we want it to find, we want a found script by evaluating the lookup based off of the directory. So if we do this again, it returns some sort of TMUX pane type output. That's what's going on. Like I'm seeing that's what's going on, but I'm not sure why this would return that sort of message. Let's see. This is supposed to be, if we do like, oh, do we need to I don't think this is going to be right. wonder if the full, I don't know what this is, chat. Why would this not return the value that we've been looking for? It's tripping up on something. Yeah, you're right about that, Peter. Yeah, Jersey, so that's what we're building. This is an existing plugin. A couple hundred people like it already and are using it. It is called the Smart Session Manager, T for short, T for TMUX, and it uses Oxide, which is like a jump to directory tool, and it gets smarter the more you use it. And I combine that with TMUX sessions, and so I just create TMUX sessions based off of the path. And it's a super useful thing. I can switch between sessions all the time. And I have a YouTube video about the mechanisms behind it and how it works. But I want to go a layer deeper, and I want to start up a command when I run a session. And I want to be able to be a little bit more specific with what that command is, depending on what project it is. And that's what we're trying to do today. But I have it bound to Command K, so Command K just pulls up all of my sessions and all of the folders I've ever visited by priority of recency and frequency. That's what this algorithm is. And so when I want something like plugins, I know that here there's 2 entries, and this one is all my NeoVim plugins. So just like that, within a fraction of a second, I can get to any project I want instantly. And so I've learned to be cheap and fast with session creation and deletion. I create sessions constantly, and I delete sessions constantly. And every time I create a session, it is contextual to the project. Now, if I want to look at like my website, that's one that's going to break. Yeah. So I would like to start the server and open up the code editor. And so that's one of the things we're trying to get today. But this isn't working. Peter was onto something. Because we looked at the argument. The argument's good. But it's not finding a script. And the question is why. So we know the command is good. Well, at some point we knew the command was good. My question now is, what happened? Why did this stop working? No such file or directory. Config /t/tconfig. Oh, that was nasty. mux/t/tconfig YAML. So now, yeah, I was actually thinking about that. You're calling something out that I thought of earlier and didn't do. All right, so we're not getting a result. Oh, not that, like that. So our eval is just coming out short. Man, I feel like we're so close, chat. This is like cutting edge stuff. So nothing's been found. If we look at the tconfig, does like this need to be wrapped in quotes? It shouldn't. I feel like it shouldn't. I don't remember what happens if you have multiple one of these. Found nothing. All right, so it just skips to that. Fish. That's the argument, no quotes. I think we're gonna have to revisit the original script. It still keeps giving me this. I had this problem earlier, so that's going to give me a non-exit code, right? What characters are valid in a YAML? Okay, so it's the tilde. I think I'm just gonna have to pivot, chat, which is fine. And the pivot is the whole tilde thing is just gonna go away. It is what it is. It's not great. I don't love the solution, but like if we go back to fish, I have this whole PB present working directory copy. We're going to copy the whole thing. And I think that this is just the path forward to not get ourselves in a pickle here, which I'm feeling very much in a pickle. Spending too much time on the same problem. All right, so it's going to be one of those things that like the argument that we were dealing with is just going to not be the tilde thing. And so this becomes that. All right, drum roll please, chat. Let's see if this at least plays nice. Let's kill this and let's launch it. All right, so it's still not finding anything. But if I was to go back to this page, and if I was to eval why does it keep thinking there's no directory? And what is this? TMUX/T/. That is not right. T-config YAML, T-config YAML. It keeps thinking that's not a directory. Z has been a few things like ASDF, right? Was its original project. So ASDF has been superseded by Zoxide, which is just a Rust built version of it. So like we love Rust. Rust is fast. And so it's just a re-implementation of it. But I used to use the same letter Z to do it, and it was, I think it was called ASDF. There's a handful of ones that are similar. Dude, I know, Peter, but who wants to handwrite JSON? I guess I could create like a script that lets me add an entry programmatically. But if you're using Z, Waylon's right. If you're using Z already, you would love T. So if I want to Z into downloads, it jumps me to the downloads directory, right? But if I T downloads, it puts me in a session called downloads, and it sends me to the downloads directory. So now I actually have a session called downloads, which is tied to the project. And that's the main idea. That's what drove this idea. That's the whole reason that this thing became a project. It's because of that idea. So Z is sort of the original inspiration for this particular project. Dude, I'm baffled though. I don't know why this is giving me such a hard time now. So the startup script is passing a result, and the result should be fine. Result. So this thing is a full path. And then the idea now is, let's just go back to this project and let's just go here. Let's just YQ eval. And this just keeps not working. So that's that. And then you can say, okay, I'd like to get selecting the dir, right? Select the dir that equals and then I'll put the full path in. Why does it keep crashing? I thought we were looking at YQ, and I thought YQ told me that I can have, can I not have slashes? This is clearly stating that it can't be a slash. Can a YQ YAML, can it be a path to a directory? No. So that's the underlying problem. Am I missing .dir? No, I'm having a syntax problem with YQ. YQ's like, no, I don't want to do this. Property with data structure rather than directory path, retrieve. You need to represent the directory with the YAML file. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. But I want to do a lookup, and I want to look up, like it's not a big ask. That's what it's so frustrating to me, is like, this isn't a big deal. Just do a lookup on a file, please. And it doesn't seem to work. Array of strings. Yeah, we can do an array of strings, I guess. That was what was working, right? When we did the array of strings. This was just like that. And that worked at the time. I know that you can, I thought you could do this, but this is already, this is a value. Yeah, but I wasn't using a value previously. The other idea here, this is a value, right? So can I just, it should be fine. That's what I mean. But why have we spent 30 minutes trying to get this to work? More than 30 minutes now. Like, I was hoping to jump in on stream today and just like, okay, just assign it to a YAML file and then match it on a query. And all this back and forth is a headache. So I don't even want to use YQ if it's going to be this much of a headache. So scripts, but we always got to call the friggin'. So now it's one of those things that like, can I still do the select? I mean, I can go back to the way I did it before. It just was kind of annoying to have to put a file in every project. I wanted one place to define it. The way other people do it, if I step back, step away from the code, and I just talk about what other people are doing. They're typically using a tool to identify potential session names. And then when you choose that session name, the session name is identified with the thing that you're going to do. But for me, that won't work still because I have slashes in my session names. And according to YQ, it doesn't want those kinds of things to exist. But can I like just do a basic lookup? We had this working earlier, which is why I thought I'd be okay moving forward. And then I wasn't, right? So if we do config, and then we say I want to select where fish directory equals fish, it gives me invalid. So now the question is, if I just do something like super cool Bubby, I don't know, just some dumb name that's got the valid characters in it. It still throws me an invalid syntax thing. So why is that? I thought we went over this like an hour ago. See you later, Jersey. Thanks for hanging out, man. We literally had a valid, I mean, I need to rewind the stream, right? We had something that gave me a valid output. It was like, yep, that's great. You're good. This totally works. Oh, or at least that's not invalid. Is it going to be a freaking quote? If it's quotes, I'm gonna hit my head against the wall. Is it really just double quote, single quote? No, I think it's the double quote thing. I think it like wants a double quote. So I just have to write my bash script differently. If that's it, that's so dumb. Double quotes. Are you kidding me? So what? I have to write, but I can't just drop this in as is. So these are single quotes. These are double quotes. It's not going to evaluate the script. Stupid. If this is it, man, I'm gonna be so annoyed. Why does it have to be this simple? You gotta love the classic. I'm gonna give you a really vague error and not tell you why, which is what we've been getting for the last half hour. All right, is that it? Is that literally all that it was needing? Okay, so it's not finding it. Config fish. Let's just go key value selector config fish. Yeah, that's gonna work. So I need to change my script back. All right, I feel the energy. It's growing. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get to it. Come on. So scripts, select dir thing in double quotes. Are you kidding me? In double quotes. So a little drum roll. Let's see if it can find it. And it still cannot find it. All right. So I guess I'm going to copy the command as is. So we're going to eval scripts by selecting a directory. Oh, there's no triple equals. Is that all that it was? Let me just do a sanity check. We've been doing triple assertions here. Should it be double equal? You mentioned earlier, a few minutes ago. Well, what have we been doing? Double equals, double equals. Double equals is valid. Scripts, select .dir on scripts, calling my config file. I'm hoping that that config file path is valid. My only thought now is that this is the next piece that is potentially wrong. Found nothing. Is my path right? Well, it's not in single quotes. Thank you, Peter. Oh, it is in single quotes. Then how the hell do I call this? That's what the plus was for. Like that. I could do an escape sequence. Yeah, that could work. So I just have a bad script. Still not finding anything. Outer double quotes with an escaped inner double quotes. Why don't I just do this then? Is this what you're saying? Maybe this is what you're saying. Instead of calling it like that, you're saying I could call it like this, perhaps? I think I could just escape the double quotes. All right, but it's still not finding it. Yeah. Yeah, we're on the same page here. Actually, Jersey, it just goes to that session. If you type one that you want and it's already there, it just goes right to it. It's like a switcher too. It's not just creating sessions, but you can switch to sessions that are open, which is where the real speed comes in. And if it's not there, it creates it. It is using your directory name though, so if you have conflicting directories, there's a few configs you can override. If you want like to use a parent directory in the name of the session, I also have one where you can match on the root of the Git repository, which is my preferred way of doing it, which is where we're getting the .files config TMUX. So .files is the repo, and then .config/TMUX is the place in which I'm reaching. All right, see you later. Thanks for joining us. We totally can. So you're thinking we call this yeah, I mean you guys are onto something at this point. We just need what, like literally like this? It looks good, right? Right? The question is, does that specifically output? does that thing fish? Ooh, bless me again. Like, does this thing, why is I need to make this a little bit smaller, chat. We're gonna bring this down just a little. So my question now is like, scripts, select that guy, config slash, let's just do it the way we do it there, home. Maybe this is the thing that doesn't play nice. That's my guess. Has that been wrong the whole time? Dot before dir. Okay. Okay, let's fix that. I don't think this is valid. Script selector equaling that, grab the script key off of that, called on the .config tmux tconfig YAML file. And then what's this file look like? Man, there's something that I'm not seeing. I mean, I can do that. But this was valid. Like, this was working earlier. And this needed to be double quotes. Is that it? Yeah. That's valid. I mean, that's totally valid. And then script. So we know that's valid. We know we can do that. Oh, because I swapped it back? You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Golly. We try to fix one thing and then I get all lost in the other thing. I'm not always this disoriented. I think I'm a bit frustrated with than anything. Peter is our Zen pair programmer here today. I appreciate you. So then it's still not finding it. Oh, hold on. I wonder how much of my time has been spent with a incorrect directory. Literally a bad directory, chat. I feel dumb. So now yeah. So this guy is the full path. Did we decide we're doing full path now? Argument is result, and we didn't change result. So it's the full path. I wonder if result is up here. I think I can define this right here. I don't want to get ahead of myself too much. Okay, so we're off to the right path there. And then if we looked at this again, it's like that. And then if we look at what's found, were we doing double quotes there before? I feel like we weren't. So that won't evaluate. I'm just trying to think of what's different between what we were doing and what's being done now. But we know that that evaluates out to something that we like because we just saw it here. So when we run fish, we get a decent looking thing with double quotes. Another one? Like this? No. No, we don't need double quotes, do we? Why would we need to do it again? Like, my only thought is, like, YQ script, and then, yeah, I know. I see what you mean. So, like, I don't know. Why is this so frustrating? I don't get why this is so weird. It clearly isn't finding a script. Well, at this point, I'm not actually executing it. Symlinks, no. That's funny. It's just a path. It's literally just a string. It shouldn't be anything wild. But here we are going this far into the stream. I'm done soon, to be honest. I'm a little fried from this. I didn't think I'd spend all frickin' day working on YQ. So I'm going to stream this again soon, probably. But we pivot away from YQ. Why would it spend 2 hours? Why would we need to spend 2 hours trying to get YQ to work? It feels really silly. Like, we know the script works. We know that this works. I can't seem to get back. We know the script works. When we put it in here, it definitely doesn't work. Because the moment all this lines up, you just run it. Like, it just works. Like once this pattern's decided and the script actually runs, then that's it. The whole feature is basically complete. There's a couple things I wanted to do, but at this point, I can't even look it up. I can't do a lookup. Do we go like back a step and find out if like this is returning anything? I don't know why we've taken this long to have to work backwards. So nothing comes out of that, which means that there's some base level thing that went wrong. Although I don't know if there's a multi-line output from. All right, Jersey, see you around, man. Thanks for coming on. I don't know, man. I don't know what this is. Maybe my debugging is off. For sure, there could be better ways to do this. Yeah, check out the plugin. All the features as they are now are super, super helpful. I really can't not use it. Like, it feels wrong to not have this session manager. So once you start using it, you can't go back. You're gonna be hooked. output. Is there like a simple? That's not what I meant. I have multi-line. Yeah, I could do something like that. Well, check out the README when you install it. There's some helpful TMUX settings that make it a lot easier. Will this break the script? Do you have to do that? I don't usually have to do that. But maybe there's some specific use case here that it requires it. All right, so I'm not seeing any output. Script, select thing, do scripts. Earlier we were doing YQ script. No element found. Well, double quotes is probably a bad idea. You always want to escape. Usually you always want to wrap things in double quotes, like in this case, to escape it. It's going to be one of those things, I think, that when it does work, I may not even understand why at this point. I think I have to sleep on this. I feel like this YQ script isn't working. What could I do to investigate the YQ problem? Check your version, verify the path, test the script without it, debug the script. Yeah, so like they're like, yeah, definitely you should check this. No such file or directory. That's the part that throws me off. Did I type it wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did I screw it up? Why does it not know that this is it? Yeah, I'm using the fish shell, but I could switch to a different shell, I guess. Am I going crazy? I don't think this file has ever been here the whole time we've been coding. And I told you guys at the beginning of the stream the backup problem where I sync my files up and they're in the wrong place. I've done this so many times. This actually isn't the first time that I've run into this sort of problem. That is not where the file is. It has never been there all night. So I've been just hitting my head against the wall because I've been calling a file that isn't. I'm using Backup. Yeah. The file is not here. The file is repos.files/config. All night, I've been pointing to the wrong path. Dang it. Dang it. That is so frustrating. I like Backup, but I've been asking a bunch of people if there's a better way to do this for this exact reason. Pretty much any of the files that I edit are never in their original place. They're in a repo. And then I have to point that thing to the place in which I want. But I don't like the way Backup sometimes selectively chooses files and other times it grabs an entire path. So this has been bad the whole time. This whole path here has been wrong. So no matter what we changed with the script, it didn't matter. So this also is bad. So we need repos/.files/thing. All right. So if I run fish, go to files is looked up. It didn't actually run what I wanted yet. Scripts, startup scripts. Display message. Go to file found. Jersey, I know you're bringing up Backup data loss. I use GitHub and version control, so I don't deal with data loss. But for those that like only use Dropbox or only use Google Drive or something, there's a chance that the way in which you run something, you could accidentally nuke your project. For sure, that is something that happens. Go to file found. Golly, this is so annoying. What was I doing before? Before I was doing this -E. Maybe now I do I still do a -E? I was thinking of -Z. I got a gnat flying around. All right. I'm trying to actually get it to detect this, which it hasn't done yet. So just because it finds it, dash in. I think that's what it was, right? Hi, what's up, Binary? How are you? What's going on? I need like an inverse, right? Well, non-empty is... Non-empty should be sufficient, right? Oh, hold on. Do I need this? No. It should still trigger the display message. So it finds it. And then when I do this part of it, it finds it, but it doesn't trigger the script. So I need this to... They're saying dash in, then variable has value. So why would it not play nice? Oh, nice. Binary, you're messing with NixOS, yeah? Pretty popular nowadays. I've heard good things. I kind of want to play with NixOS myself, but I haven't dove into it much yet. We are working on a feature for a TMUX plugin, so definitely a lot of configuration going on over here. Why would this not run? It said it was a found value. One of these things? Nope. Weird. Racing's addictive? Yeah, I'm a Mac OS guy, so I try not to get too deep into the racing game. Oh, how about I spell that correctly? All right, so that was what was wrong. This thing path, we'll do something like this. I think we decided that this is not going to work. User/Josh repos.files boom scripts. All right. Cool. So that didn't seem to do anything. Oh, hold on. I have to pass session into this argument in order for it to play nice. Otherwise, it's not going to know what to do. All right, but it still doesn't play nice. Users/Josh. We finally did it, chat. We finally did it. Oh my God. Why did it take 2 hours almost to the second to do that? Man. Okay, so next time I know that, Macup is one of those things that gives a lot of indirection that can cause potential headaches. For sure. Peter's given me the sweat emoji with a much... I have earned the sweat emoji. So I have a basic version of this. However, this is not something that I can ship. it's very much not going to fit into the workflow. So what I need to do is I want basically I'm gonna feature work in progress working YQ script, something like that. You got here right in time, just in time for me to not stumble over myself today. I was having a rough time with file paths, and yeah, so that was driving me crazy. This kind of stuff. All right, so we're gonna quickly refactor some of this. So in Bash, how do I swap out users Josh for the home path? Ah, yes, of course. I knew that. Home, that should work. And then this, I think also will work. Home. And we're gonna go ahead and just save ourselves a headache right here. So in my dot files, under Mac-up, I can create a new one called T. And we're just gonna, oh, I probably should. Let's just go ahead and call this T and T smart TMUX. What do I call this? T smart. Wait, hold on. Backup restore. Did T work? Let's find out. Fish. Close that. All right, so fish is playing nice there, but if we go to the actual project, config, cd config, TMUX. It's TMUX T, right? That's what was wrong. So we'll try again. TMUX T. Here we go, restoring. Okay, so now that works. But my new script isn't playing nice. Let's make sure config tmxt. We've got our working project. We've got our scripts. That's all right. Scripts. Config. We might as well get rid of that. I think we've decided that it has to be the full path for today. I like your idea though. I think Peter, you mentioned the base real path or something like that. What was it? Real path? Real path. That's worth looking into. Maybe I can use that as a placeholder or something. So then this home should mean TMUX. The startup script should be found in that path. This is one of those things that I don't know if it's going to work that way. So maybe we'll start there. Got it. So then that's valid. The last step here is doing the same thing we did. Now, oh, that's not it. Something about home. Oh, so if we're just doing something basic like this, that should be valid. Yeah, binary, you're right. You're right. But the binary messed with me a ton earlier, so I've just been a little bit discombobulated. I don't know why, but sometimes live streaming is harder than just sitting and doing coding on your own. But I like it. This has been fun. I appreciate all of your help today. So if that works, then we'll close that. We'll run that. Starting up go to fish, but we didn't get the startup script. Home manager. Tell me more. I'm going to get a crazy set of results there. Home manager. The next thing, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I would. I think I would like Nix. At this point, I just want my dot files to be stable. So this is definitely a big undertaking, potentially, which is where I tend to sort of focus on being productive versus just ricing for the sake of ricing. So I'd have to really see the productivity benefits out of it if I was to adopt something like that. Fish/thing. Okay, so in that case, what did it do wrong? Let's get rid of that. Let's why were those empty this time? I feel like go to file. Can I do like a config TMUX scripts, startup script, session? Now we're really close. This is like... Yeah, that looks good. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. That looks really good. That's exactly what it needs to be. So then why does the script not work? The startup script takes the session, and then the session, is it one of those things that like config? Why did it move? There we go. Config TMUX T scripts, go to file. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it might be failing silently. But it's one of those things that like, if I catted, all right, it's getting the file. It's definitely getting the file. Could it be one of those things that it's a symbolic link problem? But we were just there, weren't we? Check this out, chat. If I do Command F, I can go to anywhere. Config /tmux, and that takes me to a different project. Oh, that was interesting. That was one of those things that was unexpected. So T scripts. Yep, sure enough, that was it. Oh, because I guess, is that one of those things that Mackup needed? I don't remember. I'm having to re-execute files in Mackup. Maybe I did it in the wrong order. Maybe I was supposed to start in the original config file in the home directory and then add it to Mackup. But you're right. That's what it was. So now it's going to work. I feel quite certain it's going to work. Let's go. That's what it's supposed to do. All right, so now if we go to TMUXT and we go to a file and let's go ahead and get rid of the display message. And let's just say that, all right, fix, replace hard-coded path with or home. Let's just go ahead and push this up, and just in case something goes wrong in the next 12 hours. That would be a very good guess, Peter, as of today's coding session. I promise I'm not usually this clunky. For some reason, this work really caught me up with the Mackup directory stuff. Okay, chat. So this is the way this works. part of me thinks about letting people opt in. Part of me thinks that if YQ is not found, we just silently don't deal with this feature. There's all sorts of quality of life improvements to be made, but let's talk about like my website. So if we go to my website, we will see there is a T file, and at this point, it will open up in NeoVim. It will split it, and it will start my development script. And this is a fairly straightforward thing. So if I just go here and I do dev, we can put that dev. We can put that there. This actually worked before, so if I go to the project, I want to remove the .t script basically, because it doesn't need to be in source code on the project level. Let's see, so we'll close it. We'll create a new one, and we'll just call this joshmedetsky.com, and we'll say go to file dev, right? Go to file dev. And now, if I do that, it starts up my project and it opens up Vim. So very cool. And then I'm trying to remember if there's another project that does that. I guess Comfy UI. So now if I want to do that again, it's just Comfy UI. And now boom. So it is definitely working the way that I would expect it to. It's one of those things now that I don't know yet if the YAML format is what I prefer. Now that I know that a lot of my problems were path related, they weren't YQ related, I probably could keep thinking about this. Peter, is this something you would actually add to your workflow like immediately, or are you just sort of hanging around and, are you just hanging around and watching me do some terminal scripting? Anyone else who's been around? Binary, I know you just dropped in. Jersey, I'm not sure if you left already. But there's a few of us left. Let me know if you would use this now. Like, would you use this as is? Because I don't want to go out of my way to change this up so much so that you have to like rework it every time a new version of the feature comes out, which was my main reason to come up with the YAML data structure and come up with some form of consistency, because I'm thinking script could be here, new thing could be here, right? And so I could extend the feature, but right now the balance is I want to grow the product or this plugin ecosystem thing, like offer more features, but not break existing functionality. That's been the balance of having a project that lots of people use. And I've had to make some tough decisions where sometimes things break, but I'm trying my best to add to rather than make a breaking change. Speaking of that, there will be another breaking change, and part of me thinks that the YAML file could hold the majority of the configuration. So there might be an actual config that goes here, and all the stuff that was in the TMUX session here, this sort of stuff, I can imagine gets replaced with YQ values. Is the path I might go forward. It's like, this is bind, this is fine. So there's a very good chance that I'm going to do something like this. But there's a bigger goal here that I want to rework Fuzzy Finder defaults and deal with it more appropriately for Fuzzy Finder specific things. But we'll see exactly what that plays out to be. Okay, so Peter, you've got your own workflow. I love seeing all the TMUX session manager things that pop up, because I'm not saying that my way is the only way or that my way is the best way. It just happens to be something that I don't really have to think about. Shout out to, what is this? This is, I'm gonna sort of end the chat here in a few minutes. I'm feeling pretty done. 2.5 hours. But this new Session X is a kind of a cool one from Omar, and he shouts me out. So this is a little shout out, which I appreciate. He's talked about me on YouTube as well. And he's come up with his own version. And his version has previews, which is pretty sick. So you can, I wonder if I have to what do I have to do? Do I have to shrink it? So you can see the project, you know, and he's got, what has he got? You can rename. You can, so he's come up with all these extra features. Which now he's got these symbols. I don't know what these symbols do. D, oh nice. You can scan through the buffer using a scroll. You can look at things by window. You can, looks like you can look at files of some kind. So there's all sorts of things that you can do with his plugin. So kind of fun to see how other people come up with it. I think previewing would be cool, but to be honest, I drive the features here by going to it. So I don't really want to spend much time looking at this. There's a lot of ones that I type the same way every time, and I just always get to the nerd. There's so many projects now that I can get to typing only a handful of characters, and I immediately jump to it. Immediately get exactly to what I want every time. So that's the power of the plugin, is just not having to really think about what pops up here. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I just want to get to the project. And so it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. All right, come on, kill. But I'm pleased to see that the basic, see all these T files, the basic version of this seems to be working. And part of me thinks that I will perhaps play around with the fuzzy finding if there's a parent directory that's found that it still works or something along those lines. But we'll see. Yeah, so this was fun. So I do have a YouTube video coming out probably tomorrow, so be on the lookout for it. I have, for those that have been here before, I have this pretty cool feature where I can rotate wallpapers pretty much at any time, and I can change fonts, which is a little tricky to see, but the fonts change at random. And so I'm going to explain the terminal emulator I'm using and how that feature works. And so hopefully it'll be something fun that you guys can add to your workflow. But other than that, have a good night. Thanks for joining in. Peter, thanks for the help and all the tips, and the rest of you for contributing and chatting. Always enjoy it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.